You're listening to the Tongueincheek podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Gabby, and we're two girls having casual conversations.
That's fine. Okay, well, cheers. Cheers to the first. I feel like we haven't recorded in forever.
I know. Well, we did a lot of pre-recording in summer, so now that it's September.
It's been like a month, I think.
It's been a long time.
Recorded. I guess I should cheers after I drink. That's like bad luck.
Drink after you. Cheers.
What day is
cheers
it?
after we drink?
Cheers. I drink, then cheers, then drink. Honestly, I feel like my brain is so gone.
That's okay. We're all there, honey.
It's been
We're
so
all
busy.
there.
Like, our family and friends laugh at us because I was telling John, I was like, I haven't seen Gabby in like forever. Like, we've just seen each other like here and there. Not even like one-on-one time. When we see each other, it's been like more like family things.
Yeah. So
and
we can't
John's
really
like,
shoot the shit,
yeah.
you know?
And so John's like, what? Has it been like a week? I'm like half a week, like a week. Like, it's been a while.
It's been a few days.
And we usually see each other like all the time.
Yeah.
So
especially
it is weird.
in summer or like Christmas holidays, we're together a lot. Well, when you live down the street from your family, like you're the only family I have downtown.
Well,
so,
just in the summer, we'd see each other all the time.
Yeah.
And just be working together. And now like school and like work and other things have kind of like taken place of that. It's just been so busy. So we've literally only seen each other like once every few weeks. Do you want to shut that door just so there's no
Can I
street ambiance? Just don't knock my cacti. What the fuck? Careful of my cacti. You just knocked it. Anyways.
You're like, watch the cacti goes.
And she like knocks it over. Oh.
Knocks it over.
No.
Drama. It literally went.
I love drama.
Drama
Lynn.
Drama Lynn.
Is who I
Gabby
is.
Lynn. Emma Lynn.
Emma Lynn sounds fucking fire. I'm not gonna lie.
It does, but it's low-key stripper-ish.
Emma Lynn. It's my
No?
stripper name. I guess it is. I know Emma Line is an actual name. Like Emma
I'm
Line.
so glad you're not Emmeline.
I know.
No offense to any
The one time I
but
learned
you're
about
such an
it,
Emma.
I was interning at like this film camp and teaching kids how to make like film, which was like the worst thing ever. It's when I knew I didn't like children. I feel like I always kind of knew that, but I definitely am never gonna teach children.
Yeah.
Ever.
I
just
can't
it's
teach.
well
I
it's
get
like
too frustrated when people don't understand. I'm like, I don't know how else to explain it. Goodbye.
But it's
Go
not
figure
just
it
like
out.
teaching. It's like children plus expensive cameras and tripods and lighting kits. And you're
That's
teaching like
stressful.
5-year-olds and 10-year-olds how to like hold a camera. And oh my God, it was traumatizing. But we watched one video and all the kids started to call me Emmeline because it was this short video about a girl named Emmeline who like couldn't put her hands down. So they were always just like this.
Sad. That would be painful.
I don't know. She seemed to be chilling.
Huh.
Just living it up.
It's like a radio antenna.
Yeah. I know. Could you imagine? But not this Emma. Definitely not Emmeline. That's for sure.
Whenever I sleep with my arms like this, they always fall asleep and it hurts. I can't
My
imagine
arms-
living like this.
My arms fall asleep all the time when I sleep.
Yeah, it wakes me up.
Because I always sleep like this and my arms come numb. So like
Yeah, you
literally
sleep
I
like
have
a
to
little
I have to
sleeper.
sleep like this though.
Oh,
Now. So my
angel.
arms don't fall asleep.
My arms do fall asleep if I sleep like that.
Oh, no, I can do that. It's just when I sleep on it.
That too.
Because I'm too fucking heavy on my arm.
Same.
It's like, bitch, let me breathe. I watched that Paris Hilton documentary.
So good.
Loves it.
Loves
Honestly, so good. And not to be like we were ahead of the trend on this, but I feel like Gabby and I started watching Paris Hilton, like her YouTube channel a while ago. We mentioned this on like our first episode.
Yeah.
And I think she's so, like, I just feel like the world had her so wrong. And clearly we did. Like, you have to watch this documentary. It's so emotional.
So real.
And it is real. And I love,
she's a real person.
I love how real she is about herself. Like, she constantly says, like, sorry, I don't know how to be normal. Like, I made this character up, and now she just lives in this, like, hey, how's it going? Like, Paris Hilton voice and character. Like, I know, and she'll say that. As soon as she's in
front of the camera, the character comes on.
And then when she's not, she's like low voice, totally chill, normal, like
so relatable,
so interesting. So you guys should definitely check that out.
Yeah, so good.
It's really good.
Like, even the way it's shot, that's why I told you to watch it, because the documentary, like the actual documentary setup of it is so brilliant.
And even, like, not to give too much away, but she does talk about, like, her sex tape and stuff, and it really just puts into perspective, like, even with, like, people like Kim Kardashian and other celebrities who have had these sex tapes, like, I think we're forgetting that, like, Paris Hilton was a teenager when that happened. And how fucked up is that was on TV. Yeah. And literally, like, you had talk show hosts, like male talk show hosts, talking about it and be like, who's seen it? I've seen it. It's like, okay, so you basically watched child porn.
Yeah. And she
literally, and they're all laughing about it. Like, it's just so fucked up. It puts it into perspective.
Yeah. And she literally says in the documentary, like, I didn't consent to him releasing it. So it's literally like electronic rape. You know, she didn't want to do it in the first place. Yeah. She didn't consent to it being sent to anybody. She thought it would never see the light of day. Like, it's really sad because, you know, you do things when you're in a relationship that maybe you don't, like, see, you're not thinking about how it's going to come out or affect you in the long run. And it's just so sad when stuff like that actually ruins people's lives, because first of all, everybody has sex. Second of all, I'm sure everyone has watched porn at some point in their life. So to shame somebody.
But our media wants to, like, especially then, like in the early 2000s, like the media would just demonize and shame these
a teenager
women. And even they did that with Britney Spears, like about how it was you telling me, right? Britney Spears in an interview, and they asked her to, she was like 14, and they're like, turn around, show us your body or whatever. Like, it's just so fucked up, because I feel like now we're in a world that's very aware of it, and or at least becoming more aware of it, that now you look back at that and be like, how fucked up was that as a society? Like, I remember growing up and thinking, like, or I was told, like, oh, Paris Hilton's dumb and this and that. And it's just like, no, she played a fucking role. Meanwhile, she was actually, like, a victim of abuse. A lot of these women are, and being used by people, and they're literally, like, teenage girls, and it's just gross.
Well, people love to focus on the fact that they're this or they're that, or they're so rich or they're so famous, but, like, a lot of people tend to forget that they are human, and if anything, they go through more fucked up shit because of the amount of money or fame that they do have. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's traumatizing enough for the whole world to slam you or slut shame you or call you stupid or, you know, like, dehumanize you in a way. You know what I mean? Like, it's traumatizing enough for a kid to go to school and they get bullied by one person. But what about someone who gets bullied by the entire world? Well, I just mean,
like, even how people love to, like, rip on the Kardashians. I honestly don't think the Kardashians are that bad. Like, I think, like, more recently of, like, their seasons and stuff, I think they've become, like, people evolve and they get better. Like, whatever. Like, they make money off of their life and being dramatic. It's stupid. Yeah. But at the same time, at the end of the day, they are people and they are affected by things. And, like, they do experience hurt and pain, and, like, they have to have thick skin and go through all this stuff. Their life is put on blast. Yeah. Like, think of Chloe and Tristan Thompson. Like, could you imagine? Like, that'd be embarrassing. But you know what? At the end of the day, she's a human, and, like, other people have been in her footsteps, you know?
People love to say they have no talent, which I kind of agree with.
Okay, but, like, how much are you making versus them?
Exactly. And the fact that people think they have no talent, but these people literally had a show for 20 seasons. Yeah, and they're so rich, and people follow them on social media. It's like, hey, they have no talent, but they're also drawing you in. So really, like, the winner in
Kim
this
could have been known for the girl who got her sex tape leaked, but, like, I don't look at her that way. I don't see her for that.
She's a businesswoman.
And I think, like, And we always forget, like, when these girls blew up, they were teenagers. They were making fucking mistakes. Like, look at yourself when you were a teenager versus, like, now she's, what, like 35 or almost 40 or something? No, she's 40.
Yeah. It's 40 something.
She's fucking running the world, man. Like, I just think, we gotta just... I feel like we're working on that, though. We're like,
and the other thing is, too, people put celebrities on such a pedestal, like, good and bad. Like, people love to, you know, think celebrities can do no wrong and we have to protect them. And, like, someone you're a huge fan of, like, certain fans are like this. Like, Beyonce fans are like
the
this.
Beehive.
Like, nobody touched Beyonce. She's untouchable, you know, like, she can't do any wrong, like, we have her back sort of thing. I think it's really fucked up, not just specifically with those fans, but just any kind of fans. Like, I'm a fan of Beyonce. I'm a fan of a lot of people, but I think where I feel disconnected or I can't relate to some people is, like, if somebody does something fucked up, they're still a human. Just because they make good music doesn't mean they do no wrong.
You don't fucking know them.
Exactly.
You know Beyonce as, like, Beyonce. You don't know Beyonce in her everyday life.
Exactly.
Like, you don't know this woman at all.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, it's just interesting because people love to, you know, put them on a pedestal as if they are, as if they're this god, and they. Well,
that's America, though.
Art.
That gets into, like, just America and how they just. Even, I mean, Canada's at a fault. Like, we could just say it's a North American westernized thing. We just idolize people.
Canada is not like that. Like, we do not have paparazzi, for one. And second of all, if a famous person walks down the street, like, nobody's going to go up in their face and scream like a
I know,
crazy
there's
person.
been so many times you'll see.
They're going to take a video from afar and be like, oh my God, that's that person. But you probably won't go up to
people do go nuts, though. Like, I've seen people go crazy when, like, Justin Bieber's in a hotel. But... because, like, we're down in Toronto, so I just find that, like, every time I've seen a clip of, like, when a famous person's downtown, it's a lot more low-key rather than... Yeah, or if there's a concert and it's, like, young girls are the audience or, like, the main target audience.
Like Shawn Mendes.
Then they go crazy.
Different.
But, like, there's been times where I've just seen random, like,
but I'm talking about, like, the average person. Like, whenever you see TMZ videos... these people are swarmed by, like, 50 people, like 50 paparazzi plus 50 bystanders.
Like, no wonder Britney's shaving her head off and, like, breaking a car door. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, I'd probably do that too. Like, that shit makes you go
smothering.
Crazy.
It's so smothering.
And there's so many celebrities who are, like, afraid. Was it, like, Kylie Jenner who said she was, like, afraid to go outside her house or something?
Yeah. No, a lot of people are. It's crazy.
I would be too. Just on a regular day, I don't want to leave my house, let alone
but
if
I
were
also
famous.
just don't understand, like, what going up to someone and screaming in their face is gonna do.
I would
Why
never.
can't you just go up to a celebrity and be like, if you really want to talk to them, just be like, I really love your work. I just want to say I'm a huge
I just
fan.
wouldn't even know what to say.
Why do you have to be like,
but at the same time,
if I was a celebrity, I'd be like, what the fuck?
But I wouldn't even know what to say. You know, like, I would just feel like saying, "Oh, I love what you do." I'm like, they already know that, like, they're great.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean from a distance, right? You would take a video and be like, "Oh my God, that's Kim Kardashian. Like, I love her," or you know, whoever it is. Like, I feel like it's more of a distance thing. Where in the States, it's like, "Oh my God, can I have your picture? Can I have your autograph?" It was just like TMZ always makes jokes about Canada because they're like, when Harry and Meghan were supposed to move to Vancouver or whatever, like, TMZ would always poke fun, being like, "Oh, we have to send some paparazzi over there because you already know there's going to be no paparazzi in Canada," blah blah blah. And it's true. Like, we don't really
I've never seen paparazzi.
Nobody cares like that. Nobody cares. That's but it's crazy. Actually crazy how much money these people make in the States for a photo. Did you see that on the Paris doc where it was like $100,000 for a photo?
Paris Hilton was basically, and I never really thought about it, but, like, the first influencer. She was the first person to be, like, taking a selfie, doing all that stuff. And I found it so beautiful the way she was talking about. She's like, I really don't care about all this. And she's like, I do feel responsible for creating a monster. She's like, I couldn't imagine being, like, a 13-year-old girl today. And I think that's really smart. And having somebody who's, like, taking responsibility for that, like an influencer.
And it was actually aware. You know what I mean? Because
she sounds like she's gone through some fucking therapy, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. But it is ironic how the person who started it all, because she did, doesn't even care about it. Where you have girls as young as however old, 12, trying to be influencers because they care so much to like have an impact on other people, because that's what being an influencer is all about. It's having impact on other people. And it's funny how that's like the thing now, whereas like these people care so much, but the person who's like the influencer doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's super ironic.
I feel like
very poetic and beautiful.
It is. And I do feel like that just makes sense. You know, we get into like these traditions and following things. You could even look at this, like maybe this is far-fetched, but you could even look at it in terms of religion or like government. There's probably people who created all this shit way before, and they're like, you're still following that thing? You're still reading that damn Bible? Like, not like, you know, read the Bible if you want to read the Bible. But there's probably people saying like, you haven't changed or evolved these things. Like, we're listening to things where like, we're reading a book from when people thought, I don't know if this is too heavy, but we're still reading a book of where people thought it was okay to like stone a bitch. Like, I just don't think like
that's a whole other topic of conversation.
Like, yeah, it's messy. But anyways, the thing is like, we should evolve, we should grow, and we, you know,
totally
change the way we see things. And I think it's cool that somebody in our lifetime is already like seeing that and creating the change and taking responsibility for, you know? Yeah, like if you think about it, a selfie is kind of like a monster today. If you think about selfies, like look at how much that's changed our life. We have cameras just dedicated, or equipment dedicated to taking a selfie. Like, it's fucked.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But it is a great invention though.
Yeah, no, like don't get me wrong, I love a hot selfie. Most of my photos are selfies.
For the anti-socialers.
Yeah. But because we're talking about this and like influencers and media and how now it's affect, you know, younger, imagine being a 13-year-old girl now. Gabby and I recently watched the movie. I know it's very controversial, especially in the States.
I love talking about controversy. I love it.
So we watched.
I usually have the unpopular opinion.
We watched Netflix's movie Cuties.
Yeah.
Because we heard the hype. And I'm just going to say, my first impression, all I heard is that this is horrible, all this shit. I literally thought, all I heard is it's a movie about
sexualizing young women.
Yeah, 11-year-olds twerking.
Yeah. Even, okay, so I heard about this movie not from Netflix, not from the media, not from any random article on the internet, but I heard it from Nyasha.
I heard it from my boyfriend too.
And Nyasha was like, there's this movie and blah, blah, blah. He was getting all, you know, like feminist.
John was boycotting Netflix. He's like, I'm going to get rid of it.
And Nyasha
I was like, oh,
it's all these little girls twerking, blah, 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 which, okay, fair enough.
I thought it was Bring It On for 11-year-olds. That's literally what I thought it was going to be.
And the poster that Netflix chose
was wrong. And they apologized for it.
That's wrong. Yeah, that's good. That's good. But yeah, the poster was a definite wrong.
But we watched the trailer for this, and I'm like, okay, I feel like something's missing here.
Yeah. It's not just, like, they didn't even show twerking in the trailer. We had to look at a few not behind the scenes.
We had to know what we were getting ourselves into, because obviously I don't necessarily want to support something that, promotes child prostitution. That's wrong. Yeah. And before we get into this, I do have to say, I understand why people are enraged and upset. I mean, I don't think you should be enraged, but I understand why people are upset about it. I know that, like, whether it's a story or not, it's about, like, the ethics of the actual filming of it, whether that was needed or necessary to, like, and how the conditions were on set and all this and that. But aside from that, I really think people have the wrong idea about this movie.
I just want to say, we're artists.
We're
artists. And, you know, like, you have to see it from beyond what people like to tell you, and then you don't do your own research about it, and B, you also have to see it from surface value. Yes, these girls are, you know, doing provocative moves. Yeah, that's
but wrong. You're seeing this shit on TikTok, yo. This is on Instagram. It's everywhere else.
Exactly.
This is a movie. And I would hope, and what I think, this was done by a female writer and director and producer.
A black female
French.
director.
Yeah. And also I have to say it's French,
amazing.
which adds a whole different thing. Not to like toot my own horn, but I studied film. And I took a lot of like film classes, and one of the classes I took was on French films. Like they're very raw, like ways to depict stories. The French do it, and it's a lot of it is uncomfortable. There is a lot of nudity. Like there's no nudity in this movie, by the way, for children. But I just feel like this movie presents a reality. Like we watched it, and I related to that. I remember being 11. What were they, like 11? I remember being 11 and having friends sit on chat roulette, and there's men's dicks. And now that I think about it, like
that was a thing.
That was so fucked up. And I remember being this girl. Like it's not just, this movie is not about twerking, and I think that's so wrong. It's about a girl struggling between her traditional values. She comes from Senegal. Yep. And so she's
Muslim.
Yeah, she has an African family, and she is struggling with her traditional family values versus this new life of growing up in Paris in the ghetto. I think you could say it was the ghetto. Like, the ghetto. And Paris in itself has a really interesting, and Paris itself has a really interesting history that a lot of French films like to depict or like to educate people on, because our view of Paris is not necessarily accurate. Yep. It has a really interesting history, especially because of colonialism and all that stuff. Yep. But anyway, so it's really about this girl finding herself. It's a coming of age story of finding out of like her traditional values versus growing up as an 11-year-old with social media, influencers, girls with their asses twerking on YouTube to like songs and hip hop and rap and like all this stuff. And she just wants to fit in and have friends. Yeah. And that's really what it's about. And if you watch it fully through, like, yes, it's a
really good movie.
There are uncomfortable scenes, but you should be feeling uncomfortable about it.
This is the thing. This is what I'm saying.
If you're not uncomfortable, then that's gross. Like, and this is the thing though. I've watched other movies, and yes, like, because when John and I were talking about it, a lot of the point was like, well, did these kids, child actors, consent to it? And I understand that. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's uncomfortable, but none of them were naked. And also, I've watched movies where like girls
consent to being like a fucking murderer in some movies or witnessing a murderer. Like those things can be compared. You know what I mean? And sorry to cut you off, but I also just want to say
I talked a lot.
That a few things actually. First of all, I want to say that I've been to multiple places in Europe, and Europeans, and so have you, Europeans are very open with their sexuality. So if we're talking about this being a French film, it does not surprise me that they are openly talking about obstacles and struggles that teenage girls or preteen girls are exposed to.
But we should be talking about this.
But we should be talking about this because you are fooling yourself if your kid that's the same age as these actors. You're fooling yourself if you think that your kids or someone you know of that age is not engaging in some sort of, sexual curiosity. It was a thing in elementary school for like me and my, like, for those people that don't know, for like groups of girls to like go on chat roulette and like skip through all the people. And this never happened to me, but I've definitely heard stories of people who ran across older men on chat roulette jacking off to whoever they were on thing with. And there's no difference between doing that and doing a provocative dance on TikTok or in your room,
which
by
is
yourself.
happening.
Because when I was 12, I can tell you I was dancing in my room to Pussycat Dolls singing like Loosen Up
I was
My
listening
Buttons,
to Candy
Babe.
Shop by 50 Cent.
That's the thing. There's no difference. And just because this film is a commentary on these kinds of situations, people love to slam it.
But I think people aren't even watching it. They see the poster, which was a wrong way to convey the story.
Because it appeals to children.
But
it looks like a cheer
but
movie
I don't,
or something.
it's really miscommunicated because it's not that at all. Like, I think movies like Bring It On, I think Toddlers and Tiaras is more disturbing than this. Like, there's other things that we could talk about that we see on TV that are a lot more scarring than this movie. And I think people should just get over the uncomfortableness about it and see it for what it is. Like, it's not like the actual story itself is important to see. And like, we're already seeing these things on a daily basis. And what it's about, it's about sexualizing young women. And unfortunately, the way young women learn about sex is by being sexualized and not actually having sexual feelings. I think, personally. I don't know if that's heavy, but honestly, like, and when I think about it, that was probably like a grade 6 for me, or like grade 5 to grade 6. This girl's age is when you first get introduced to that, because we listened to rap songs that was about objectifying women, and we watched like Bring It On, Mean Girls, all this kind of stuff that and even like creepy men on chat roulette, like. And this is the thing. This doesn't promote pedophilia, because I'm sorry, pedophiles are still out there. They're gonna find anything. Yeah. Like,
they
so
don't
I
need
just
to get off on, it doesn't help. No, that's probably why people are enraged about this conversation. But exactly what Emma's saying, like if like someone's a pedophile, they're not waiting for cuties to come out, to be a pedophile. They're finding unfortunately other ways. So we can't blame that on a movie that's just making a commentary.
But I do understand people's questioning of like how it was made, what was appropriate. Like, when I talked to John about it, he talks about the uncomfortableness of like, well, how many girls were like, the filming of it, of filming these young girls dancing, or like how many girls did they have to call into a room? And just from like, I went to film school, I took at one point I wanted to be a casting director, actually, so I took a lot of courses in it. And it comes down to, because kids under a certain age, they can't be in a room without an adult for a casting audition and on set.
So where with the parents?
So they would have been with the parents, but that's the thing. Then John was like, okay, well, what about the parents? And like, you never know if the kids are really consenting or to what they understand. And from that perspective, we can't really speak on. I just think I think we're really choosing to buckle down on the negativity of it and just see these girls as like the objects of it. And it's a good movie. Like, we learned something from it. We could relate to it. I think fathers with their daughters should be watching this. I think I think you gotta wait to be maybe I don't know if this is not a kids movie. I think it's more for the adults.
No, and that's
or
what
to know what your kid's going through these days. It's not for children by any means. And that's what I thought. I had no idea what this was. Yeah. All I heard was it's a movie about twerking. So I was thinking some Toddler's Tiara meets Bring It On kind of shit.
I didn't even know it was a movie. I thought it was like a doc about actual people, that like actual kids. Yeah. And that's what we were talking about with Nasha. He was like, well, what do you think the rating is? And I said, I think it's for adults. And he's like, oh my God, that's worse if it's for adults. But at the same time,
but I could see
it be for kids. It's supposed to reach out to adults to be like,
how to talk to your daughter, what to do when your kid finds a condom on the ground and thinks it's a balloon, like how to prepare your daughter for these things. Like, it's just so important. And I just feel like we always talk about this, we didn't grow up with the age of like influencers and Instagram at like such a young age. And I think it's really pivotal, and it's so hard on young girls. Like, I couldn't imagine. It just needs to be a conversation, the sexualization of young women. And I think adults need to be more aware of it. And we shouldn't just buckle down on, this is gross and disturbing and watching kids. Yes, it is. But we're already seeing that. And just because you're seeing it on a big screen and you're uncomfortable, there's a lot of things we see on big screens. Like, I think of more traumatizing things I've seen. I remember Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, watching a girl get raped on it. That was hard to watch.
But that's what I'm saying. It's happening. Like, movies with young girls like that, or like young kids where there's a murder scene, do you think the kid consents to that? Do you think they not get somewhat, fucked up from playing that role? Why is that so much different than a realistic situation?
I just hope that when they were doing the filming of it, I like to hope that it was like a safe environment and that they were aware and educating these girls and letting them know the story and what this means and all that stuff. And by the sense of it, like the director, she seems really cool and grounded, like she's drawing from her own experiences, so I respect that. And I think that we should look at this as a good story and a learning experience, and rather than push it away and want to censor our world from it, you should just watch it with no judgments and just go into it.
And honestly, cool. I just think it really says something, considering the director's like a Black female Parisian woman, and the main character is a Black female Parisian girl.
Like
and
she moves to Paris.
Like it's right in front of you. It's like a direct story. Like it has to be.
And like this isn't far off from, if you think of Asian countries, a lot of young girls are prostituting themselves and working in strip clubs to pay for their families. Like this isn't like, it is gross and disturbing, and like we're getting upset that young girls are reenacting it. Meanwhile,
but it's real.
This is real. There's real girls doing this. There's girls being trafficked. There's like, this is such an issue, and like we want to just get mad at like a fictionalization of it rather than realize like.
And this is the thing that I appreciate about the movie and stuff like this is, it makes people feel uncomfortable, but that's what it's supposed to do. If it doesn't make you feel uncomfortable, it hasn't succeeded.
A movie should make you feel a certain way. So
but
if
that's
it's
what
doing
I mean
that,
by
it's
like art, like that's contemporary art in itself. It's all shock value. If it doesn't make you look and be like, I could fucking do that, or that's art.
But at the same end,
that's when it's doing its job. It gets your attention. It makes you talk about it.
But at the other end of it, like I do respect people who, like, and I totally understand this from going to film school, is that not everyone likes to watch really intense films, and movies for them and entertainment for them is supposed to be something that they can like relax and not have to think to and all this stuff. So I respect that. And if it is something that you think would be too hard to watch for whatever your reason is, then obviously don't watch it, but watch a trailer, watch some like research on it, get to read it a bit more before you just say you make your decision of it. I always think like being a critic on something is bullshit. Like the only opinion that matters is yours about a movie. So be your own critic and go watch it for yourself.
But I just want to say one thing. I totally respect when both of our boyfriends were like boycotting the movie. But at the same time, who's the women in this scenario? Us. Who can relate to the movie? Us. Therefore, I think it's made for people like us. I totally respect John and Asha being like, that's disgusting, blah, blah, blah. I respect that. But at the same time,
when I gave
can
John
actually relate to the movie.
When I gave John my whole spiel on it and how I felt, he's like, whoa, okay, like I'll give it a watch if it means that much to you, or if you feel that passionate about it, then I'll give it a watch, because he's like, yeah, I respect you feel that way. But at the same time, he's like, I just don't need to watch that. I'm like, okay, I get that too.
I respect that. But at the same time, but us watching it and relating to it, that's who the audience is.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about the audience. That's who it is.
But you know what?
People like us.
When I was younger, my dad really wanted me to watch Taken. He was like, you have to watch this. Every young girl should know.
How to look for a kidnapper?
Like, literally. Like, he was trying to prepare me for some shit. But, like, I also think that's important. Like, my parents never really censored me around movies and certain things. Like, my dad was always showing me movies from a young age.
Mean Girls when I was like 11.
I fucking love Mean Girls.
What this is, but here you go. And I watched it. She was like, "Oh, okay, whatever."
Mean Girls is iconic.
It is
to
iconic.
This day.
It is. But yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Like, people just love to coddle their children nowadays. Where like our parents were like, there you go.
But that's the thing. People like to coddle their kids nowadays, but their kids also have so much freedom through these social media platforms. So you're not aware of what your children are doing. And you have no idea. Do parents understand what WAP is? No. And are little girls dancing a WAP on TikTok? Yeah.
Yes.
Like, it's just, it just doesn't make sense.
And
it's like you want to control your kids and have so much, pay attention to them, but you don't really want to know what they're up to. You don't know.
And that's what the movie is directed towards. It's all about social media. Like, they have their own form of Instagram when she uploads the picture, and we're not going to spoil it or whatever, but you know, like, a lot of shit goes down, but it has to do with social media. And throughout the whole movie, the mom has no idea what's going on. She has some sort of like inclination of like she's going through something, she's rebelling, and she's going through a stage. But the whole irony is that the mom has no idea what's going on, and at the very end, it's a good ending, but the girl kind of like she makes her own decision. And she's growing. It stays
it's a coming
as
of age story.
But it's a true coming of age story in the sense that like she's on her own journey, and it ends just her.
It actually kind of reminds
with her being like, Mom, I don't know what to do. And her mom's like, do this. Okay, ride into the sunset. No, it's just the little girl who figures it out and she deals with it.
But it actually kind of reminded me of this film called Tomboy. If you've ever seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I know
it's really great. I think that's also another French film, and it's very, like, everything's just, a lot of French films like to depict like a time and a place, or like a phase of something, or like you just view like an instant of what happened in one person's life, and is that the guarantee for the rest of their life, or is it not? It's like about this one girl who, is she a tomboy? Is she trans? Is she gender fluid? Is like, you don't know, like maybe it's just a phase she went through, they went through in their life, or do they change eventually? So it's just really interesting because it allows you to put your own perceptions into something and allow you to reflect. And I think that's what movies should do. So definitely. Nerding out 100%, but watch it if you're intrigued, and if there's something that's still pulling you towards it,
highly recommend.
Yeah, research it. Watch it.
Just moral of the story: before you bash something, maybe give it a watch and just, you know, do your own research.
Don't knock it.
Be your own critic. And everybody hates shock value. I personally fucking love shock value.
Okay, but people are funny because they either hate it or they love it.
Yeah.
So I just think the world,
but usually true shock value,
you know what?
People are very uncomfortable.
We're in a fair time that like we're trying to figure shit out right now, but I just think in trying to figure shit out, we should get our priorities straight. Like, let's not get angry about what like, God,
first world problems,
literally. And put Paris Hilton, put her documentary on Netflix or Prime. That shit shouldn't just be on YouTube.
I know, but they are doing well. It has like 10 million views right now.
Oh, yeah, it won. I think it went to a film. Yeah, and it went to
had ads
film festivals. YouTube. Like,
that's awesome.
I remember seeing a little thing about it, but
that's awesome. No, it was really well done. Give them both a watch if you haven't already, and let us know what you think. Like,
yeah, please let us know what you think. Do you think we're like completely whack and missing a whole part of it? Like, let us know your opinions. What?
No, I'm just laughing because I think I'm so glad we're on the same wave about certain things. Like,
yeah,
you know, I don't know. I tend to have an unpopular opinion, and I don't know if that's just.
But we felt we're like
wants to disagree with the world, but I truly believe that whole conversation was overhyped, and I get why people are mad, but I feel like a lot of people just haven't watched the movie.
And I feel like we're coming from a good place, like we're respectful and understanding about why people don't like it, and I feel like we've done a bit of our research and talked to people who have like varying opinions from us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we're riding that wave. We both were like, what the fuck are we missing here?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, let us know. Like, be honest with us. Are we completely whack and like cracked on our ass or something? Like, I don't know. Let us know. We're not afraid of that shit. Tell us if we're wrong. But we love to hear your opinions, and we're like past 40 minutes.
Okay, let's do it.
Crazy?
Love you guys. Cheers. We're done our wine now, so we need a refill.
Well, bitch, I got a whole nother bottle. Come prepared.
Okay, we love you guys. Stay tuned.
And we'll see you next time.
To stay updated with us, follow our Instagram at Tongueincheekpodcast.